Now, some common mistakes I always see is when people do a comparison of one value to another, they only do one equal sign and not two. And this is terrible, because what we're saying is we're not saying, is the value of x equal to 22? We're saying x is now going to be equal to 22. So whenever this point of code executes, whatever x was is now erased and is now set to 22, and this condition will become true by default, and then execute the code in brackets. And so this is bad. I guarantee you're going to do this at least once, and just be aware of it, going forward. I also see people doing a semicolon after the condition in the if statement, or even in the else if statement. Never put a colon or a semicolon after your condition. It just doesn't belong there. And then lastly but not least, I see people who only have one line of code after an if statement. They will forego brackets because they can do that. I think it's bad form, and it can be really confusing and kind of a pain if you want to make this code more complex in the future. So you should always have brackets just for the sake of consistency whenever you have an if statement or an else if statement. So always have the brackets here for the if. It's just good form. So remember now what I said about if the two equal signs, right? So this is saying, okay, is the value of x equal to 22? We don't know yet. And so we're going to return a true or false value depending on how this condition checks out. Whereas here, what we're saying is x is now equal to 22. So here is this mistake in practice. We're going to go to our screen here, and as opposed to 300, I'm going to say, all right, count is now equal to 300. When I save it and go into Unity, it's going to say, uh-oh, something is screwed up, and it won't like it. Now, some engines won't actually give you an error, and so you're going to always see the value of 300 printed out. Luckily, Unity can catch it, and so it's going to stop you and say, look, you have an error here on line 20, space 23. The debug codes aren't going to mean much to you, but what's important is these numbers right here, which tell you roughly where the error is located, or at least where Unity thinks the error is located.